And welcome back to Watchbox Studios. And should I say a happy Super Bowl Sunday to everyone. Hopefully by the end of this day, the Eagles will be flying high and flapping their wings with rings on those fingers. Rings. This is another episode of Dial In with CQ and Jay. And we have the most talented trader on the floor.
Stop.
Probably the reason that there'll never be a talent show because he just win every year.
Guys.
Mr. Zach Rego.
You know, that's a great intro for me. I appreciate that.
It's the truth, bro.
Thank
talent always speaks. You know, you can't. Nothing you can do about that.
Of course,
nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing today?
Wonderful.
Feeling
Wonderful.
great?
Yeah, absolutely.
I have no complaints, man. It's a beautiful day out here in Philadelphia, you know, and I'm with friends. We're with a great team. We're gonna make something beautiful happen today, I think.
Yeah,
I can feel it.
Absolutely.
Definitely. First, before we get into the show, I just want to thank all of you out there who showed us so much love in the comments and the likes and the thumbs ups and gave us so many great suggestions for future shows out there. We really, really appreciate it, especially everybody who hashtag Dial in the Basel. We're still trying to make that happen, so make sure at the end of this video, hashtag Dial in the Basel, and let's see if we can get some watch guys out there. Have some fun with
answered the call.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You did. You definitely did. Now, Zach, I think there was a few guys you wanted to shout out.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had a lot of good comments in the comment section. I want to thank you for that. Just want to point out a few, in particular. One from, excuse the mispronunciation probably, but Sharkawe7 said, "I love the format. It reminds me when I sit with friends and talk about watches for hours, and please send them to hashtag Baselworld 2018. They deserve it." Thank you very much. We appreciate that. And that's exactly what we're trying to go for with the show. You know, just friends talking about watches, very relaxed, nothing too crazy. So we're glad you feel at home here.
Yeah, definitely. That is the real point of the show. You know, there's a lot of great resources, especially here on Watchbox Studios. So many great videos where you can have so many in-depth views of different watches, different views of the industry. And we just wanted to create a little bit more of a casual environment, something, just to give you a little peek into our world. You know, as watch traders all day, all we do is talk watches, and it's something that we love. This is why we do it, and we get kind of passionate about it. And sometimes you just like to have fun, talk watches. So this is just a little bit more of a laid-back, chill show, a different view into the world of watches. And we might not, nail down every movement and tell you the VPH of every oscillating spring out there and every escapement. Yeah. But we definitely will give you some great watch knowledge and a different place to come get entertained a little bit, and just sharing the watch love that we're trying to spread in the world.
And if you like it, show us some love.
Yeah.
Just so we know that we're doing something right, for the people out there that are vibing with it.
Yeah, definitely. And on that note, we did make promises last show. So, I think we have a winner
who
did win. What do we have to give away here?
He went above and beyond with this comment. I just have to
He
say.
did,
that's
yes.
True. So we have this beautiful AP book that is a great book to throw in your library, pretty thick there. And, you put this in your library, read through it, maybe see some of the things that we're going to be talking about today. And this is definitely a collectible item here.
Yeah, and I mean, you can look in here and see what, maybe your next watch might be. I took a look in that book, and let's just say I have a couple pieces in mind. It's 2018.
Oh, yeah, we got some nice
Everyone
stuff.
can dream.
So it's a full collection book. And who wins a full 2017 AP collection book?
So this one is going to go to this comment who said, "Awesome show. I'm starting a Kickstarter and sending you guys to Basel. Okay, you work well together, a nice mix of humor and knowledge." So Mike M., thank you so much, and this will be added to your library shortly.
Definitely. I think Mike gets a book, but he also gets a point of the show.
Yes, he does.
Really great. Thank you for the comment, and definitely reach out to us.
Yeah, please send us your information so we can send this your way, and there'll be more prizes to come, guys. So don't be upset you didn't get this one. Keep commenting, keep showing us love, and we will be sure to get you some swag.
Hashtag Dial in the Basel. Let's make this happen. With the power of the people, I feel like anything is possible.
Anything.
Right?
To the moon.
So, I was trying to think about what we could do for the show today, and I think we all agreed that we wanted to talk a little bit about the history of watches. And, when you talk about the history of watches and what we wear today, there's one name that pops up among, the greats of Jean-Claude Biver, Nicholas Hayek, is Mr. Gerald Genta. For those of you who don't know, Gerald Genta is a watch designer / watchmaker who really man, made over 100,000 watches.
He claimed,
Designed. You know, that it's a big claim,
That's a
but
bold
you know,
claim, but
it's possible.
It's crazy that it's believable.
It is believable. You know, he was born in 1931. He came of age in the 1950s or so when he was really started making watchmaking. He went to watchmaking apprenticeship, you know, age of 15 years old, and started making some really, really cool designs. You know, there are a lot of great pieces that we could sit here and talk about. So we bought a few out there to speak about today. Let's see what we want to start on. Let's just go for it.
I mean, you can't go wrong with it. You really can't.
But before we even talk about this, shouldn't we talk about his first iconic watch?
Oh, I believe you're talking about the Polerouter? The
Yes,
Polerouter.
I think we are talking about the Polerouter.
Yes. So, at the age of 23, Gerald Genta was actually tapped by the Universal Geneve Company. They asked him, you know, please design us a watch. You know, you have some good style. We'd like to see what you can do. So he put out the Polerouter, and then which was actually turned into the Polerouter. And if you look at this watch, this is a watch that if I didn't know what year it came out, I would say I'd wear this today. This is a watch you could throw on a cool strap today, have as your only watch. You have one watch that you'll ever have, and it's going to be the only one in your collection. You've only got a few thousand to spend. I would say this is the one for you. Not only is it an awesome watch, looks great, it's going to go with everything, casual, business, everything, but you're going to have a part of history on your wrist. Gerald Genta's whole idea will be inside of that movement, that watch, that case, and because of it, you know, people are going to talk about it and know that you know about watches.
And the coolest thing about the Polerouter is the history behind it, because essentially what was happening when they created this watch is they were taking flights from the UK to the US, and these flights were taking 30 hours long. And so pretty much we needed to design a flight pattern where we could go over the North Pole, and that would cut the flight times down by half. But in order to do that, we also needed to have equipment that would be, you know, not polarized and wouldn't be anti-magnetic. So this watch is actually one of the first anti-magnetic watches that the pilots were wearing when they did that route over the North Pole. So that's what makes this really iconic and really, you know, different from all these other timepieces we may talk about today.
30 hours.
30 hours on a plane.
Time.
Sitting coach. Oh. In the middle seat.
But I think everybody used to get like martinis. I heard it used to be a
nice
party.
coach. This one coach was nice. You know, you could get a little cigarette there and have a good one.
You know, exactly.
Definitely not the days of the Concorde when you could just, you know, a few hours go to sleep and you're in Europe, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's actually a great point, guys. You know, Gerald Genta, I think for many reasons, you know, I'm a big fan of when the creative mixes with business. You know, and I think a great parallel you could put with Gerald Genta is George Lucas. Now I'm thinking I'm crazy here. Let me circle it up, right? So we all know George Lucas for Star Wars films and, you know, a lot of other films that were so impactful to the industry. But another thing that George Lucas did that was so important was Industrial Lights and Magic, which was his, you know, computer graphics leg that did so many great films beyond Star Wars. Because not only did he want to make a great film, he wanted to make a film that could pull people into the future. And to this day, Industrial Lights and Magic, even though it's owned by the Disney Company, is something that has pushed so many great films. Some of the best films we see use their engines, use their products. And you can make the parallel with Gerald Genta because he's such a creative genius, right? A creative force. You know, in his own words, he didn't really care to wear a watch, but he loved designing them. He's just an artist that was unleashed upon the world, and just his design ethics, and not only, you know, people come to him and request, like the AP we're about to show you, that was a request from Audemars Piguet, hey, we just need a waterproof watch. And he didn't just say, hey, let's just smash together a waterproof watch. He created something that nobody saw before out of his own little crazy mind, and something that has really changed the way we look at luxury watches and what is considered a luxury watch. Before the Royal Oak hit the scene, you know, a luxury watch was something circular and it was on a leather strap. Tool watches were on bracelets, like the Rolex, the Submariners of the time, the Timexes, things like that. They were meant to be beaten. You wanted a metal bracelet so it could take a little look in your nice watch. It was on a leather bracelet. But when the Royal Oak came out and was priced at such a price point, it really just kind of sent waves in the industry.
Yeah. So at first I was like, what is he talking about? George Lucas,
know, right?
but it all connected. And you did a little buzzword for me. You said Submariner. So that's going to allow me to throw out my watch here.
Stun. Oh, God.
So I got this Kermit Submariner. And the reason I'm wearing this is because in certain lights, you know, it doesn't really show too much, you know, in your face. But then when you turn it and you see that green shine, boy, does that cause, you know, catch the attention of everyone in the room thinking, what is that?
Yeah.
You know, so I had to throw out this Kermit. But thank you for the buzzword.
Nice piece, limited edition. It was a 50th anniversary piece from Rolex, and a piece that we've seen climb, especially going into the end of last year on the markets. You know, trading upwards of 12,000, 13,000, especially for a nice mint condition piece. You know, so going to show that, you know, a watch that was again meant to be a tool watch, just you know what people like, and the demand of the market, you know, that's what wins.
Yeah.
For my wrist check, I got 2 as usual. We're gonna do on my left hand Panerai Pan 305 submersible.
Bang bang.
I just love it. You know, brush case, beautiful big size on it. I have it on a rubber strap now, but I put these on leathers as well. And this is just something you could do everything in the world with. I just love it. It's one of my favorite Panerais, and it's just something you could wear every day. It doesn't look out of place, you know, in a nice dress shirt, but you could definitely go to the beach.
Yeah, I don't dive,
stuff,
but
you know?
I definitely want to
I find a
dive.
reason
Just
to dive.
to wear that watch.
Yeah.
Just to wear that watch, I'd like to get, you know, deep
Yeah.
in the sea.
And then like, on my right hand, let's see if I get a little look.
Oh my God.
Can we make it work?
Open work.
So this is Zenith El Primero Rolling Stones edition. All ceramic case. I like this one. Zenith did a couple Rolling Stones edition. I like this one because it doesn't really have the Rolling Stones branding anywhere but on the strap and on the back of the case. And it's El Primero, and it's sleek, and it's just classy. You know, and I love it. They did a leather and rubber strap there. Again, something that you can wear every day. Nobody really knows what it is, but there's so much watchmaking history and love in this watch. You know, I love it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. What you got,
And you know me, I like to keep things Omega. So I'm wearing currently the Seamaster Omega with the day date. It's a beautiful piece, you know. I like to keep things classy, but at the same time, you know, nice and simple. I'm sorry.
Oh, and it's another Aquaterra as well, you know, the Aquaterra love.
Look at that. Yeah. I don't know, there's something about the Seamasters, the indices with that luminescent, it's just so classy. It just works perfectly. I don't know. I just have a thing for Omegas. What can I say?
You're consistent. I like that.
Yeah, you know, one thing.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. So let's start our little journey into Gerald Genta. You know, there are a lot of watches that he made out there. Like I said, over 100,000. The best-selling Timex was made by Gerald Genta. You know, the Bvlgari really started branding as a whole, as really putting your brand out there. We're having Bvlgari on the bezel itself. But let's go with, you know, one of the icons who I'd say, you know, was here first.
Okay.
You know, would be the Royal Oak, which is commissioned in the 70s, finally completed in 1972. This version that we have in front of you right now, 15400 ST. This one is really, really special.
Oh man, look at the light on it.
It's gorgeous.
Oof.
A grayed out boutique edition, which came out last year. I don't think they're not making many of them. It's something that you really
hard to find.
Very, very hard to find piece.
Yeah.
What I like about the Royal Oak and what he did that was so different is first of all you have that octagon shape of the case, but then you have the integrated metal bracelet. You know, integrated meaning everything is seamless. The bracelet and the case look like there's no true separation there. And it's something that you imagine in the 70s that this came out and people were like, what is this?
Yeah.
You know, a little too crazy. You know, maybe, you know, they were like, oh, AP kind of went off on the deep end. Because remember, up until that time, everything was circular, nice, complicated timepiece. This was a time-only watch, full metal bracelet. And, you know, imagine if you had a very high-end, sophisticated taste clientele, and then you present this to them, of course you're going to have a little bit of backlash.
Yeah, I mean, it took them a full year just to sell 1,000 pieces.
Insane.
Insane. And that helped them get out of bankruptcy, so they're not too mad about it, but boy, did they have no idea what they were getting with this Royal Oak design.
Yeah, you know, and again, this is something that he made, you know, over a few days and took a long time for it to catch on, but once it did, it was really one of the propelling forces in luxury steel watches, and it brought up brands like, you know, Rolex even to make people consider, hey, you know, a steel watch can be considered a luxury item. It can fit into certain realms. It's not just meant to be a watch just beaten up and, you know, thrown away or something like that. So he really changed the whole industry with this one watch, you know, among the many others.
So I have a question for you, just a little bit tangent, but before the Royal Oak, you know, what was Audemars Piguet's, you know, leading model?
Well, you know, before then, I don't think they really had one signature line.
Okay.
And, you know, if you go back in some of the Gerald Genta history in his interviews, a lot of those older APs before the 70s were also designed by Gerald Genta. And remember, this was when before the quartz crisis happened, brands were very much more in a different space. You know, they were the manufacturers, and they would hire nice designers. Hey, make us something nice. We have this great movement. What do you think we can do with it? And they were very open to, you know, ideas from everywhere, and, you know, outsourcing, and everybody kind of helped each other because they're all, you know, from these little villages in Switzerland. After the quartz crisis, that's when it was more important to have established lines, because you couldn't take as many chances. So you needed to have one line, like the Ford F-150, always the best-selling truck, is that one consistent line that Ford knows that if they put out an F-150 every year, they're going to have a certain amount of F-150s that are going to sell. And they can play around and do a Taurus and a Fusion and things like that, but they'll always have that Ford F-150. And I think during the quartz crisis, and we'll do another episode, we kind of crack that open, but during the quartz crisis, you saw a lot of brands go away from making very small production pieces, maybe 50, 100 pieces of this, and then they switch around the dial into these kind of more like standard flagship model lines. Like this is the Royal Oak, and this is the Jules Audemars, and this is the Millinery.
So it became more about branding in a sense.
It became much more about branding, because you wanted people not only to buy into your brand, but buy into the family. And so if you had one Royal Oak when the offshores came out, you're already like, oh wow, this is a different Royal Oak. This is a Royal Oak that I can swim with. This is a Royal Oak I can have fun with. So I think definitely before that, there's so many AP models that you wouldn't recognize as AP, you know, if you didn't know what you're looking at. A lot of the Jaegers, a lot of Pateks out there, you know, 50s, 40s, that like people are still discovering to this day, you know, and then you have to really do a lot of history and talk to a lot of experts, because again, the brands were run a little bit differently back then as well. So it's very, very interesting that during this time in the 70s, he did this and really kind of disturbed the whole world, in the watch world, in a little bit of a different direction, for sure.
I gotta say, Gerald Genta was very busy in the 70s.
Yeah.
He did a lot of things that today you're like, oh, that's a cool watch. Oh, that's a cool watch.
Yeah.
Well, it was designed in the 70s.
Yeah.
And he did, what else did he do in the 70s? He did the
he did
Ingenieur.
He did the Ingenieur in the 70s. I think the Bvlgari was in the 70s as well. And remember, in between this, all these iconic brands, he's doing a bunch of one-off designs, you know, because he's, you know, at the time he's just, the designs were just being bought. So he'd make a design, sell it. He wasn't really getting royalties, and I think later into the 70s is when he had firm contracts with like Patek Philippe and Audemars and stuff, where they continuously, you know, wrote him a check and stuff like that.
Which just helps to his legend, because it's so legendary that he was so freelance that he could go wherever he wanted and have success.
Yep.
It truly is amazing, and a credit to him.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the big things some super, you know, Swiss watch nerds will get at him is that he worked for Seiko for a while. But Seiko is a brand who came with him with a good lump sum of money at the time, and allowed him to keep progressing, keep creating. And while people at the time knocked him for helping out, you know, some would say the causer of the quartz crisis, it definitely fueled his passion, which fueled the industry that we're in today.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
So as we digress, let's go on to another great piece, which Jay's gonna pull out right now. This one's really special. Nautilus. This one's a 5711G. This one's really special. It's a Tiffany Co dial.
Oh man, the blue box, right?
The blue box.
You get that light blue box.
You know that blue box.
We should have bought the box just so they could see it.
The problem is you bring it home, and if your wife sees it, she's gonna think, oh my gosh, honey, what did you get me?
Well, no,
and then what you have to go surprise her. Oh, I got you something. I just can't show it to you now. And then
exactly.
You bring her
No. You mean that you got her something first?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on,
you really have to.
Yeah. That's more expensive.
Ladies first.
Ladies are always
this does
first.
come in a large blue box. So
Yeah,
they're gonna
it
see
does,
this
so-
and they're gonna go like, oh.
Yeah, what is it? Have that large in that box.
So you definitely gotta bring a little something first, and then you kind of hide this box and take it out of the blue box.
But boy, is that beautiful.
It is a beautiful piece. You know, this is something that the original one was designed in a little bit after the Royal Oak. Smoother lines. A Royal Oak, it was more designed for those old scuba helmets that screwed on. The Nautilus was designed more of a porthole that would screw on one side and you flap open.
Yeah, it's got the ears on the side, you know, and he designed it at dinner while watching the people from Patek Philippe.
Insane.
And it's known 15 minutes it took him.
15 minutes?
15 minutes, and we're still talking about this watch today. I have never been that productive with any 15 minutes in my entire life.
I wish.
Ever.
I could dream.
Right.
I could dream.
And it's amazing. He produced the first prototype in his own studios as well.
Wow.
You know, so it's really amazing what he did with this watch here. And a lot of people knock it, you know, because, oh, you know, it came out so close to the Royal Oak. But it was just his design ethic. You know, he just really loved it. He loved the octagons and that kind of shape, and just really beautiful piece. And again, that one's just so special because Tiffany Co. very only watches to get that brand and had to go out of their door. So we're very, very lucky.
Yeah, I like that collaboration. That's a very nice collaboration.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
You know, I've seen maybe 2 or 3 Tiffany Co. down knowledge. A 5980 I've seen, 5711 or 5712. You just don't really see them.
It's
If
a
you can get
rare,
your hand on it,
very special piece.
you better hold on tight.
Oh yeah, no, that's something, especially nowadays, just going up, up, and up. You know, let's talk about maybe one other piece there. Let's talk about this Bvlgari Octo.
Oh man, this is so smooth.
So this watch in particular is special for a lot of reasons. But let's start about the.
Just don't turn it sideways, or else they won't be able to see it.
Yeah. First
That's
of all, this particular piece is the Bvlgari Octo Finissimo that came out last year. All ceramic case, has the thinnest automatic movement in the world right now.
Look at that.
I'm pretty sure
It disappeared. Where is it? I can't even see it.
It's gone. It's gone. You know, this watch on the wrist feels like a glove. You know, the lightness of the ceramic and titanium parts on it, once you put it on, it's so beautiful, but you get that nice big face of an Octo and this nice, clean, subtle dial. I really, really, really love this piece. You know, the Octo has a very interesting history. People really connect Bvlgari and Gerald Genta in a lot of different ways, and of course, he designed the Bvlgari piece, the Bvlgari Roman, to turn into the Bvlgari. The Octo kind of started out under his name, under a Gerald Genta brand, and of course it was, I'd say, almost his final evolution of the octagonal styles. And again, integrated bracelet, beautiful
He loves
case.
slim watches.
It's all him. You know, this is Gerald Genta, and Bvlgari, you know, ever since his passing, has really been pushing forward with the Octos, and have put so much emphasis on it. And this particular piece came out last year, and was just so beautiful. We're so fortunate to have a few to play around with, and just great pieces.
I mean, Gerald Genta really changed the game for Bvlgari. Without him, they would be a name that you'd be like, what's that company with the weird V in the middle of the name?
Yeah.
I've never heard of them really,
you know,
but I know that's a thing.
I think jewelry-wise, it always had a little bit of a hold, but the Octo really, really helped them out. You know, you could say between the Octo, the Diagonal, which is their more divey sports piece, and then the Serpenti for the ladies. Those 3 models really help keep pushing Bvlgari throughout the decades, you know, in just terms of really nice, iconic watches that are fashionable on the ladies' side. Of course, the jewelry would always sell. And then on the watch side, they had true watches that people actually loved, that people didn't just slide back into.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like through the time he kind of wanted to reduce the size of like the cases, because the AP, it seemed to have a wider diameter, a larger case, and then the Nautilus kind of got smaller, and now we get to this Bvlgari where it's like it's paper thin. Nearly, you know, like
he was all about proportions, definitely.
Yeah.
When he was designing these things, when you look at his sketches and then you see what the final product was, you can tell that he had this idea of keeping them slim and perfect proportions, so it's fashionable and it looks nice on the wrist and it wears well. So he really did a good job on there. And the Bvlgari, it really inspired a lot of different brands to start using their brand names as like designs. So having the Bvlgari twice on the bezel there, you know, Louis V having the LV as a design, Hermes, you know, Hermes having the H on the belt buckle. That's the inspiration, was the Bvlgari.
Yeah,
changed the game.
The one thing about Gerald Genta you could say is just he just had this creative vision. And it's just about visibility. And one thing you could say about the Royal Oak when it came out is polarizing. You know, maybe you didn't like it, maybe you hate it, maybe you love it, but you were talking about it. You know, what was this thing? Same thing with the Nautilus. It's like, what is this? It's on a bracelet. I don't know. Don't want to pay this money, but you're talking about it. It was definitely a conversation piece. And throughout time, he definitely affected the taste of generations, you could say. And on the branding side, he was one of the first to be like, hey, let's be stand out. Don't just be another great quality watchmaker, leather goods maker, whatever you have it, but be somebody who puts your stamp on whatever you do. You know, which we all can take a lesson from, really.
Yeah. So we went over a lot of, you know, good ones, first ones, and going through the history. But what do we think was his best?
Oh, that's a real tough one.
That's tough. You know what? We didn't mention one of the main iconic pieces that some people would say is, you know, the epitome of his design. And I think, in my opinion, his best might actually be the IWC Ingenieur. Reason being is because, like, it is also a classy timepiece, but it's also a very usable timepiece. It was a timepiece made for engineers. It was anti-magnetic, and it also had a very sleek design. We actually have one here, right here. Now, it doesn't...
Is a special one.
Oh, yeah, this is
So
very special.
This is go.
Well, I'm sorry. Typically, these IWCs are on integrated braces, but this one's so special, you know, they had to put it on an alligator strap. It's a chronograph, perpetual calendar.
Yes,
correct?
So it's a perpetual calendar with a digital readout chronograph, and it's I think one of the coolest looking perpetual calendars out there. I'll just say it.
It's gorgeous, you know. And the thing is that with these Ingenieurs, they're practical watches. You know, they're a piece that really has a lot of his influence. As you can see, it has that porthole design with the 5 screws on it, you know, and it's a completely usable watch in most situations. And a lot of engineers love it because, you know, it's anti-magnetic. You can take it anywhere, and you can be safe to know that, hey, I look classy, but I also can use this watch in any situation. So, I mean, in my opinion, I might think that the IWC Ingenieur is his best.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. I want to touch quickly on one keyword that Jay said there, and it's practical watches. And I think we can all agree that throughout the time, Gerald Genta is really focused on making practical watches that you wear. Not something that you just, you know, keep in the case and you just look at once in a while, but something that you actually put on and wear in the wild.
Yeah.
You know, it's really tough to pick one. You know, I'm gonna have to go with the Nautilus.
Okay.
You know, and you can come at me in the comments. You know, at TQ the Watch Guy. And you know, there's a lot of reasons. One is Patek, right? And we can all say Patek is the king, right?
Yeah.
Patek is the king for a lot of different reasons, right? But the biggest reason is there's no better protection of your investment than I say a Patek Philippe, especially when you start talking steel Pateks and get into the Nautilus range. The 5711, I've had the fortune of handling quite a few in my career. And on the wrist, even, you know, I'm a bigger guy, I got a 7.5-inch wrist. It's not the biggest watch in the world, but when you put it on, the way it hugs you, it's like coming home from, you know, a long day out at sea,
so
man.
welcoming.
And you just get this hug from this Nautilus, and it just,
makes
you
you
know,
feel good inside.
it does make you feel good inside, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just a clean, classy piece. It's money on your wrist.
Yeah.
It's a IRA right on your wrist. You could wear it, enjoy it, nick it up, do whatever you want. Just don't hit it with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
And you can always get money out of that watch. And design-wise, I think it's just a little bit smoother than the Royal Oak. And just personally to me, I'm a big fan. So I'd say my choice would be the 5711 or Nautilus. Or
Okay. Okay. So you got the Ingenieur, you got the Nautilus. I'm gonna have to go with a tie between the Royal Oak and the Nautilus. Originally, they actually had the same movements from the original Royal Oak. You know, that movement was a slim movement, one of the best at its time. So when they decided to do the Nautilus, they decided to put that in there. Just obvious, you know, obvious choice there. But the reason I think those two are probably tied is because of their, you know, what they are in the current time. Okay, both of those watches, you really can't find them. You really can't get them. You know, you're looking through the pre-owned market. Good luck.
Yeah.
You want a 5711, 5712? Ha! That's a funny question that you had there. That was really good.
I can put you on a list.
Yeah, list for
list.
years. So you have rappers wearing them. You have athletes wearing them. You got famous people wearing them. You know, these are watches that today are huge in pop culture. Every, you know, part of it, aspect, you know, older people, younger people, everyone are together on these two watches. So I think, you know, I would have to be a tie for those two.
Yeah, you know, it's definitely hard to pick a winner among legends.
They're all
winners.
winners.
You know, there was a Mount Rushmore of watches. Gerald Genta probably has all everything belongs to Gerald Genta on that mountain.
Yeah.
Again, great iconic designer. It is a tie to me, you know, because how can you pick one?
Seriously.
It's one of the toughest questions. That's why you don't see a lot of Patek Philippe swords that sell Audemars, and if they do, they have them separated because if you put them right next to each other,
Pricing aside, they are
exactly. It's a tough.
And when you look at the
choice.
designs of the original two, they're so similar that you're like, wow, that I can tell the inspiration for, you know, what Gerald Genta was trying to do with the integrated bracelets and the cases.
Yeah,
and the bezel.
he kept pushing. Even with the original, the predecessors of the overseas, the 222 Vacheron, still had that same kind of style as well.
Yeah. So I think we should go into one of our games that we like to play. You know, those are fun for us. You know, I have won the last week's game that we played.
Who's
So
counting?
I have a confession to make.
Yeah, okay.
I forgot the prices.
It's okay.
What do you think?
It's okay. I got this, guys. Don't worry about it. I got everything under control.
Oh, I thought I was
Zach
looking for a
Rego here.
different game. All right, well, Rego does
So
got us.
we're gonna do buy, sell, trade. Okay, everyone's favorite game here.
Yeah. Okay.
So we got 3 watches
I'll
here.
put on the gloves. Yeah.
So we're gonna bring back that Patek Philippe 5711
Okay.
gray Tiffany dial.
I love
Okay,
this watch.
this one's gonna be selling right around $54,000.
I swear we gotta stop putting layups in this. By the way.
I know,
I'm just
but
saying.
you know, everybody's got their own opinions.
This is
here.
true.
Everyone's got their own opinions.
This is true.
And this watch, you know, selling obviously for a little bit more with just the Tiffany written
man,
on
look
it.
at that back.
Just a
Get it.
beautiful thing.
get it.
Okay. So the next one, we got the AP Royal Oak 15400 with that gray dial.
Yeah. Oh.
Another special one.
I mean,
you might see this do some interesting things.
Oh,
in the
absolutely.
future as well. I don't think they'll be making this dial very long.
So that one's gonna be roughly around 19,000. And then the last one is gonna be the Bvlgari. And you know, this one we're throwing in there, but to some people, this watch could be their end-all be-all.
Yeah.
If you had to have one watch, why not?
Absolutely.
Why not? Nobody could tell you anything about this watch.
Yeah.
Slim, classy, and then let's just show off.
So that, look, I mean,
Whoa.
yeah,
Such a
come
cool
on.
movement.
Oh man, look
Look
at
at that micro rotor
that
up
finish.
there.
Oh,
Look at that
my
thing.
gosh, I could watch that for hours.
Hours, man.
I could
It's
get
crazy.
lost in there. I'm already lost actually.
It's a little amazing there. Look at it.
So we got those 3 watches. That one's going to be roughly around 14,000
Okay.
in the the market out there. So we got to buy, sell, trade. What are you doing?
Okay, so you know me, I'm a little unorthodox. I think I'm gonna buy the Bvlgari and keep the Bvlgari.
Okay.
The reason being is I feel like with the Bvlgari, I'm gonna be able to do so much with it. You know, I can go to work, I can go out for a drink, I can dress up in a suit, and I can always wear this Bvlgari and I'll feel okay. You know, like there's no issues. It's a classy watch. I won't even remember I have it on. I'd have to remember to take it off, to be honest. It's so light. Like it's gonna be like it doesn't exist. And you know, I'm a guy who likes, you know, simple things, and the Bvlgari is just, it just speaks to me in its simplicity, you know? So buying to keep the Bvlgari. As far as selling, oddly enough, I'd be selling the AP. Now, the reason I say that is because it is a boutique edition, so I feel it might, you know, garner me some good cash, put towards something newer. But it's still a beautiful piece, don't get me wrong, I would definitely own it, but I have to sell something, right?
Yeah.
And so I would trade the Nautilus, and I know, like, yeah, look at his eyes, like he's ashamed of me. So I would trade the Nautilus, right? And like it's a little crazy because I would trade the Nautilus, right? And I would jump into an A-Lang, Grand Lang 1 with the moon phase, rose gold. Ooh, it's just like, there's something about moon phases for me where it's like, there's nothing against the Nautilus, but I love just seeing the moon rise and knowing, you know, when it's gonna be full or when it's gonna be half. I talk about moon phases all, I'm just, you know, I wanted to travel in space, and that's why, you know, if I could put it on my wrist, why not? And so that's why I'll probably trade into that Langa, the Grand Langa 1. I'll probably get some cash too because it's a Tiffany dial for all means and purposes. There's going to be some cash given to me along with that Grand Langa 1.
Oh, yeah,
just being honest.
Yeah, for sure.
But those are my choices.
Okay.
You guys got made it.
You want a little bit more time?
Made it tough. No, wait. I think I kind of got it. I think I got it.
Okay.
I believe in you.
You know, I think I'd also buy and keep the Finissimo.
Okay.
Really, really love that watch, and I could see that I would actually wear it. I think I would sell the AP.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I would also trade the Nautilus, but
okay.
I would trade it to go into another Nautilus. 5980.
Okay.
Maybe it'd either be the full rose gold or two-tone with the blue dial.
Okay.
And I think if I sold and trade those, so I might have a few. They might throw some shekels back at me.
Yeah.
I really, because I love the Nautilus, but with my bigger frame, the 5980 on the wrist, especially two-tone, that and the Finissimo, I'd be done.
Yeah.
I'd be done. I'd probably start doing pocket watches or something else because my
That's
wristwatch.
you got it
I'd be
down.
okay. I'll be all right.
I respect that.
Yeah, you know,
I respect that.
Okay, guys, respectable. So what I would do is I'm definitely buying the 5711. Okay, I'm buying that.
Good choice.
I'm keeping it. And I can't wait for the year 2020 when that thing's at, you know, $100,000 with the Tiffany dial.
Easily.
You can call me in 2020, and I'll be
Easily.
happy to offer you two at $100,000. Okay, that is the going price. That's the starting bid.
That might be low.
I just sold that for 20 under what I could get. So I'm gonna sell the AP Royal Oak 15400 with the gray dial boutique edition. It is an awesome watch, but you know, I'm going to sell it because right now, I'm going to get some good money for that right now.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, for sure.
You buy some of these AP 15400s, especially a boutique edition, at retail, and you want to make a little money right away, easy watch to do it.
Yeah, blue
easy
dials,
watch
gray
to
dial,
do
boutique
it.
editions are going through the roof. Black and white dials, silver dials aren't far behind them, but the blue and gray they're up there.
Yeah, they're going. And then I'm going to trade the Bvlgari, okay? Not because I have anything wrong with it. I know you guys showed a lot of love to it, buying it, keeping it forever. But I'm going to trade it just because, you know, it is an awesome watch. But with the other two watches that I'm saying I'm going to buy, maybe sell one, I want to have something that's kind of in that upper echelon in terms of, you know, who the kings are. The Patek Philippe, the Rolex, you know, the Audemars Piguet. So I'm going with the Rolex. And I'm trading that watch, which is going to be roughly around 13, 14, and I'm getting this Kermit, which Watchbox allowed me to wear on the show today. So this is my new watch. Thank you so much, Watchbox. I appreciate the watch.
Congrats.
It's very nice of you guys.
Good job. I didn't hear about this. This is
Do I
great.
get this? But no, I'll take one of these.
We'll work on that. We'll work on that, guys. So, yeah, you know, we had a little bit different opinions from me and you guys, but, I mean, it just shows you that anybody could have any opinion on any of these watches, and it could be anyone's favorite.
Yeah, you know, the biggest question that we always have from clients is like, what should I buy? And the real answer to this is you buy what you like. I don't care if it's a Swatch watch, it's the Nixon, or it's an AP or Patek. If you walk across a watch and something inside you just turns on, and you love the way this watch looks, and you put it on, and it feels great on your wrist, and you can afford it, buy it.
Buy it.
You know why? Because 10 years in the future, when you look at that same watch, you're going to have that same feeling of, wow, man, maybe I worked hard, I did what I had to do to earn this watch, or it was a fun day with the kids, I was in the islands, and I saw I got a good deal. But never let anybody stare you. You know, I'm a great salesman, I could probably sell you anything in the world, but I will never sell a watch. I merely give you information. I can tell you, hey, maybe if you have 4 APs, maybe we try something else. Maybe we diversify the collection a little bit. But you have to buy what you like because it's a watch. You're going to look at it. And the number one bad thing out there is when you buy something you don't like, you can't return it. And every time you put it on, you're like, oh, I hate that I bought this watch. I didn't like that experience, or I'm just not in love with this watch. And then you know, you got this thing that you're in the safe that you don't really wear. And, you know, we get calls every day from guys who bought watches that they didn't love and they had to trade it in, and maybe they're not going to get, you know, the value that they wanted. And the reason why it's such a tough situation is because they didn't buy what they liked. Usually, when you buy what you like and you want to trade, even though you might lose some money because it is a business, it's okay because you got so much enjoyment and sweat equity out of that watch. You know what, I had great times, and, you know, this is going to help me into another watch. I'm going to have more great times. So, you know, number one rule, buy what you love.
Yeah, that's true.
I live by that.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So, you know, that was a good little, you know, tip for our viewers there. Just buy what you love. You know,
I did forget the prices.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll be honest.
Well, we're going to start to show off next week with CQ's prices.
Yeah, okay, so maybe I'll help the viewers out a little bit here with something
Are we going to do that thing we were talking about?
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I think we workshop something where Rego...
So Rego kind of goes with, you know, something, you know, Reagan, he actually had a version of economics, okay?
This is true.
And it promoted free market activity, and I feel the same way about the watch market, okay?
You're probably right.
So here is something that, you know, we came up with that I like to call Regonomics, okay? You know, I'm up night and day, you know, tracking the current watch market, you know, trying to see what, you know, the watches are worth, and, you know, update when clients call me, I can give them updated information on what their watches, you know, the market is for them. And I'm fascinated by how a watch can keep its value over time, and want to share with you some of the things that I'm seeing out there, you know, in the market today. You know, today I want to focus on a few, you know, things, but I want to focus on something I like to call the Genta market, okay? I'm going to start with the 5711. I'm going to go with the /1A. As, you know, I mentioned earlier, as we were talking about, 5711 is a hot watch.
Super.
Good luck getting it, but if you do have it, you know, let's learn a little bit about the market there, okay? So it's a stainless steel, 40 millimeter, maybe you got the blue dial looking nice. So current retail on that, 24.8, okay? The original retail in 2007 was 18,800.
Wow.
So that's a little big of a jump, you know, in that, you know, just 10 years, you know, that's pretty good. 2013, it went up to 27.
Yep.
A couple years later, went down to 24.5. You know, did a little price correction there.
A lot of brands did it around that time too. Yeah.
But they're constantly looking out there in the market, the brand, and they're trying to figure out, where do we price this? So they actually announced recently, you know, it's out there, that they're going to be hiking that up to 29, which I understand, okay? You know, that watch is so hot trading in the market that they see truly what the value of this watch is, so they're making a little bit of correction, okay? But really, you try and buy this out there in the open market, you want to buy one from somebody, you want to take it off their hands, you're going to have to pay somewhere between $40,000 and $50,000.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm not sure, you know, that's what people want to hear, especially people that are looking for the 5711, you know, at retail. If you want the watch, you're going to pay for it. And if you have the watch, you can get money for it, okay? So the next watch I want to talk about is the 15400 or the 15400 ST, the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. Stainless steel again, 41 millimeter, a little bigger. Maybe you got the white dial, you know, a little like laid back, you know, not too crazy in your face. Current retail is at 17,800, okay? That watch selling in the open market there, going above retail. These are two watches going above retail just because of how rare they are and the demand for them. That's selling anywhere up to like $20,000, okay? So those watch market, both of them, are hotter today than they have ever been. They have become part of pop culture. You know, you got rappers wearing them, you got athletes wearing them. I'm sure Ellen DeGeneres has like 3 of each. She probably has like a ton of each of them. And so, you know, you got all of this going around the, you know, these two watches. And if you bought the 5711 in some divine miracle at retail, you can rest easy knowing that your watch is just gaining value as it sits with your other collection, which I'm sure you have a crazy collection if you have a 5711.
Oh yeah.
Of course. So if the 5711 and the 15400 prove anything, it's that Gerald Genta knew trends and he knew how to design a watch that could last the test of time, and that it would be a good investment too. So if you ever want to know what the current watch market is, you know, feel free to reach out, give us all, you know, a call, shoot us an email, or what you can do is check out the Watchbox app, where you can actually track the current market of any of the watches that you may have in your collection. And, you know, if you do have any watches that you'd like us to cover in future Regonomics segments, please comment #Regonomics, and we will do our best to cover the watches that you guys are interested in.
Wow.
Yeah, that was great. That was great, Rego.
That's great. That's great.
I want to just drop 2 cents on it really quick. And basically 2 watches, right? The Nautilus and the Royal Oak, investment at a prime time right now. 2 brands who kind of got there in 2 different ways, right? The Patek Philippe, the Nautilus, they never made a lot. Seal production is less than 10% of what Patek does right now. The Nautilus, they've never made tons of them. So just slowly through time and through just the demand of that watch, I'll just tell you, in the Caribbean, you know, we were blessed to be in a boutique there. We get maybe 4 or 5 a year, immediately gone, smoking for. You come to me and say, hey, I'll give you whatever for Nautilus, and I just be like, man, like
they
one
would
day,
never
man,
hear.
I give them a little picture, like, hey, this is a Nautilus picture, and like, you know, think about it. You know, call me sometimes. Right? Maybe Aquanaut.
Here's a picture for your wall, because that's the closest you're gonna get to
exactly, you know. And then with the Royal Oak, what we're seeing is in recent years, is AP has kind of took a real hold on their distribution network, and even in the last year, I think 10, 12 dealers a couple months ago, well, this month, and SIH got shut down. You know, so you're seeing that dealers who couldn't find models, now a lot of dealers are closed, and AP is really aligning itself with a lot of their more independent brands and having a few retailers, more boutiques that sell their product, meaning they can control how their products are sold and their prices. This is great for the consumer. You know, people think that, oh, this is a price grab by brands. No, it's great for consumer because at the end of the day, if you pay $100 or $100,000 for your watch, you'd like to know that the value is still there. You'd like to know that if you spent $100,000 on a watch, you'd be able to come back and maybe get, you know, somewhere between 70 to 80 or maybe more for your watch, instead of a lot of brands out there that we all know, we do get the phone calls where somebody spent $100,000 and that watch is in reality only worth 20, 25 cents on the dollar. You know, and most of that is one, sometimes models don't look that good, but a lot of times it's just distribution. You know, watches get into weird places on the gray market, and you
also got to credit the salesman who sold a $100,000 watch that's worth $20. I mean, like day after day, these guys are out here selling pieces, and they know, you know, what to say to make people, you know, feel the right to buy. And I think another thing that might have gone into the market trend for these watches is the fact that a lot of people are customizing their own watches, especially the Nautilus. You know, a lot of people are, you know, going to, you know, aftermarket side and doing certain things to their watch that they feel makes their watch look even better. But that kind of removes the original product from the marketplace, making them even harder to find. So when you can find the plain Janes out there, it's just, ooh, you know, that's actually, I think the trend is moving towards, you know, no more aftermarket. We want to do plain Jane. We want to be able to get our watch and resell it for a good market value. So I think that might be eating into the Nautilus and the AP market as well.
That's a great point. You know, especially with the Nautilus, again, they don't make that much, and you're seeing even the anniversary editions, you're seeing people customize it, whether it be diamonds, or we're seeing a lot of cool little engravings and the Moon AP that's out there.
That was so dope.
Yeah, some really cool pieces, but when you put diamonds on it, it's not what it was. You know, it can never come back. You're actually drilling into the metal. A lot of people don't realize that they're not putting like another piece of metal. They're actually drilling into the metal that's there. A big problem is servicing these watches, because Patek Philippe won't. Because it's no longer their product. They can't warranty it. Now there's all kind of spaces where dust and water might be able to get in.
So if we had to say, just don't do it. You know? Just don't do it. You might like it, but you better be ready to keep it forever.
Just go factory.
Because don't try and resell that, because it won't be as valuable.
You buy it to keep it. Just like during our buy, trade, and sell segment, you'd be buying that watch to keep it if you're gonna, you know, put aftermarket diamonds on it. Just because you're not gonna be able to recoup the true value of the watch if you alter it from what the company wanted it to be.
Thank you again for joining the Watchbacks and joining the Dial-In Show with CQJ and Zach. And buy what you love.